A very good morning to all the students of class 11th political science, and students, welcome back to the online classes here. As you know, we were continuing with the chapter number 4 of our NCERT book, Indian Constitution at Work, and the chapter name was Executive. We had already finished 2 parts, and in those 2 parts I had given you all the important topics and concepts related to executive. And today we shall start the 3rd part of this chapter, that is Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. So before I tell you this particular concept and importance of Prime Minister and Council of Ministers in a parliamentary system which we are following in India, but before that I want to talk in relation to the new students. As when we started our syllabus, that is the Constitution, and I gave you around 10 parts in that particular chapter. Although after that your syllabus was revised and few of the topics I will be removing it from your syllabus. But as I have recently checked your class list, there are around 18 students now, which were around 10 to 11 students in the beginning, when we have done our chapter number 1 and chapter number 2. So particularly this video, I am sure those extra students which have recently taken the admission in class 11, especially in humanities section, so they will be watching this video. But once you are watching this video, you need to watch the previous videos first of all. That is chapter number 1, that is related to the Constitution, why and how. Then along with chapter number 1, CBSE has merged your chapter number 2 of your NCERT, that is rights in the Indian Constitution. In that we had done fundamental rights, fundamental duties and directive principles of the state policies. So these three important topics are merged with chapter 1 now. It means 1 and 2nd chapter have been merged. So after that we have taken the 3rd important chapter, that was election and representation. I made videos on each and every topic of this chapter, so you need to watch it. And now we have started the 4th chapter. 2 parts we had already finished, so you will be able to see the 3rd part from today, and you will be getting the assignments also. But the new students will not be able to see the previous assignments which I have assigned after the topic. Although all the new students, you will be able to see all the videos since your name has been added to this class list. So these lectures on the topics from chapter 1 to chapter 4 will be available to you. So you need to watch these videos and lecture videos which I have given you, and on the basis of that I shall be giving assignment for the new students, those have joined after we can say when we had already finished our 3 chapters. So basically I was thinking of the new students. I shall be assigning you the assignments and homework related to chapter number 1 and 2 especially. Okay, so I'm starting this chapter now. I hope you have understood the instructions which I am telling you, especially for the new students who shall be getting the assignments from today. That is the 3rd part, but the section which we have already covered, for that I shall be assigning you the assignments. But videos are available, you can see them, you can understand them. But what are the homework you have to do, I shall be on the regular periods I shall be assigning you that also. So the topic for the day in this chapter, executive, part 3rd we are taking today, and you are very much familiar with this particular topic, Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Okay, so this is a major element of the, we can say, our executive or executive. You know, it is an important organ of the government which executes plans, laws and policies for the welfare of the state. So these are the important responsible person to the executive, that is Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. And President we have already studied in the last video. What are the dictionary powers of the President? We have done that. So there is no Council of Ministers without the Prime Minister, as PM leads the Council of Ministers. So they are saying there can be no Council of Ministers. This group of ministers cannot be formed unless there is a Prime Minister, because Prime Minister leads the Council of Ministers. He is the head of the Council of Ministers. If you are talking about the Council of Ministers, Prime Minister is the head of the Council of Ministers. So if there is no Prime Minister, this Council of Ministers cannot exist, because all the member of this Council of Ministers, after the election and after the appointment of this PM by the President, PM appoints the portfolios to Council of Ministers. Okay, this is just the introduction part which I am telling you. No discussion of government or politics in India would normally take place without mentioning the Prime Minister of India. So they are saying we cannot talk or discuss about the functioning and policies of the government or about the politics in India or any country which is following a parliamentary system there will be no discussion, no point of discussion unless would normally take place without mentioning the Prime Minister of India. If you are not talking and mentioning the Prime Minister of India, it would be useless to talk about the politics and government. As we know, Prime Minister is the actual head of the executive and he is the head of the government. On the other hand, President is the head of the state, but he is a nominal head. The real powers and the real executive is the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, but the head of the Council of Ministers is Prime Minister. So the importance of Prime Minister in the politics of India or in the government or the discussion of the government, Prime Minister plays the most important role as he is the actual head, who is the superpower or a superman, we can say. He is the superman of the Indian politics. If we are talking about the election system, or if we are talking about the parliamentary system which is followed in India. So can you imagine why this is so? Can you imagine that why there can be no discussion of the government, or we cannot think of the politics, or we cannot think of the Council of Ministers or welfare of the state without mentioning Prime Minister? How can you imagine why this is so? Why this is so? In the last video we had already covered the answer to this question, why Prime Minister is so important that we cannot imagine the functioning of the government without Prime Minister. As we know, we think that President exercises his powers only on the advice of the Council of Ministers. Although President is the head of the state, but he is the nominal head. He is not the actual head. He has to function, exercise his powers, but with the advice of the Council of Ministers. Whatever the Council of Ministers advises President, he will exercise his powers accordingly. But the important point is here, the head of the Council of Ministers is Prime Minister. That is why it's written here, the Council of Ministers is headed by the PM. It means with the advice of PM and Council of Ministers, President will exercise its duty. The role of the Prime Minister becomes most important if we are talking about a parliamentary system like India. Therefore, we cannot talk of government and we cannot talk of politics in India without mentioning Prime Minister. Therefore, as a head of the Council of Ministers, the Prime Minister becomes the most important functionary of the government in our country. So as he is the head of the Council of Ministers, as he is also advisory of the President, here the maximum powers are in the hands of the Prime Minister. So he becomes the most important functionary of the government in our country. Without Prime Minister's appearance, there was no proper functioning of any politics in India. So he plays a very important role. So this was the introduction part, that what are the importance of a Prime Minister along with the Council of Ministers. Now it's written here in relation to all this, the President is the nominal head. So what is the summary, and if I sum up all these points of Prime Minister, what do we get? The President is the nominal or formal executive authority. According to the Constitution, we say that President is the head of the state, but if we see it practically, all the powers are with the Prime Minister, as President exercises his powers on the advice of the Council of Ministers, whose head is Prime Minister. So we can say Prime Minister is the real or actual executive authority. Executive means a government organ which executes plans and policies for the welfare of our nation, country or state. So here real and actual executive authority is Prime Minister. I'm taking these short points for you, and I will be taking them in detail from your NCERT book. I'm just reading them. These are very easy. Powers and functions of Prime Minister. What are the powers and functions? Leaders, first of all, he is the leader of Council of Ministers. As he is the member who has the majority in the Lok Sabha, he is the leader of the majority party. He has formed the government. So he is the leader of the Council of Ministers, on whose advice President will function its power. Recommends ministers. He recommends ministers after he has become the appointed the Prime Minister. He appoints different ministers. He allocates. He gives different portfolios and responsibilities to different leaders and ministers. He leads all the meetings of the Council of Ministers. Next is in relation to President, as we have already done in the past video, in the second video, and here also. He is the principal channel of communication. if I'm talking about the role of Prime Minister in relation to President, what is the role between the President and Prime Minister? So I will say Prime Minister is the principal channel of communication. That is, Prime Minister, he is obliged to communicate all the important information to President. In the last video, we have also read about in the dictionary or the authority and power of the President. We were reading that Prime Minister is obliged to give all the information regarding the plans, policies, and different functioning of the government in our country to the President. All the questions and information asked by the President are to be given by the PM to President. Okay, and we call it right to information. So President has right to information. Okay, so this is one of the function of the PM, and important, as PM is the link between Council of Ministers. Whatever Council of Ministers is deciding as an executive branch or organ of our country, whatever they are functioning, what are the plans, policies they are going to plan for our country, all that information is given by the PM. As PM is the head of the Council of Ministers, all information is given to the President when President asks from PM. Okay. Advise the President with regards to appointment. President has various powers in various sectors where he appoints various members in the different offices. Okay, whether Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, or in the Council of Ministers, in the states, for the governors. So all these appointments are made by the President. But here PM also plays an important role, as PM advises President in regards to appointments. Now this is a good point. Size of the Council of Ministers. So what should be the exact number of Council of Ministers? So in the 91st Amendment Act 2003, this was an amendment, 91st Amendment, which took part in 2003 when Atal Bihari Vajpayee's government was there in the center. In this, Council of Ministers shall not exceed 15% of total member of House. If total number of House is 543, it means only 15% of these total members, 543, out of these only 15% will be the ministers of Council of Ministers. Okay, because before this amendment, 91st Amendment in 2003, there was a traffic jam, we can say, of minister. There was no limit of making these ministers. So there was so many ministers, so there was so much of confusion and imbalance in the functioning of the government. So after this amendment, it was decided that any government or in the lower house, there are total number of 543 members. Out of them, only 15% will become the Council of Ministers. Okay, suppose there are 500 members, so 15% of 5 members, around 75 people will become Council of Ministers out of 500. But previously there was no limit. Maybe there were 200 or 300. Okay, these were so this was the problem. There was we can say traffic jam of the ministers. So later it was amendment was made in 2003, and it was decided that only 15% of the total number of the Lok Sabha or the lower house members will become the Council of Ministers from the majority party. Next topic is your coalition government. When two or more parties come together to form government, then this type of government is called coalition government. When before 1989, there was a complete majority of a single party, that was Congress. Congress had the influence all over the country. There was no powerful opposition party which could challenge the supremacy of Congress at that particular period after the independence for many years. But this concept of coalition government came after the election of 1989, when no single party was able to gain the majority in the Lok Sabha. As we know, this is a total number of seats in the Lok Sabha, and half of this number of seats have to be achieved by any party to get the majority and make their government. But no single party was able to get the majority in the Lok Sabha election. For in that case, many parties collaborated together, made their coalition. They joined together with mutual understanding, and they made a government. In such type of a government was called coalition government, where two or more parties joined together to achieve the majority. Okay, so this was called coalition government. But because of this coalition government, there has been many changes in the election system, or in the, we can say, powers and authority of president as well as prime minister. Previously, the government was made by a single party, as they were able to achieve the majority. But after 1989, since there has been lot of powerful oppositions, no single party was able to make the government. So there were coalition governments. In that, when there is a coalition government, there are many parties and leaders from different parties. They come together and form the government. In that case, when they make a prime minister somehow, that okay, he will be the prime minister, then that prime minister or the president is not able to function properly. He is not able to give the independent decisions, because he also has to listen to the others leaders of their partners. So he has to many times has to negotiate regarding various powers, authorities, jurisdiction of power. So because of this coalition government, the coalition nature of Indian politics in this period has necessitated much more considerations between political partners, leading to erosion, the reducing power, authority of the prime ministerial authority. So there is a loss, and we can say degrading impact on the powers and authority of the prime minister because of this coalition government, in which there are many partners who come together to form a government. In this, the prime minister is not able to work independently. Now I am reading some important points from NCERT book which are important and relevant to your prime minister and council of ministers. So it's written here, in the parliamentary form of executive, which we are reading about, we have done parliamentary, semi-presidential and presidential. But in India, we follow presidential form of executive. It is essential that prime minister has the support of majority in the Lok Sabha. This support by the majority also makes the prime minister very powerful. As we know, prime minister is the leader of the party having the majority in the Lok Sabha election. So it is very important for him to maintain that majority, because if that majority is maintained in the Lok Sabha, this makes the prime minister even powerful. Although the maximum powers are, he is the actual executive, but if he has a majority in the Lok Sabha and support in the Lok Sabha, it is very easy for him to function properly and he becomes more powerful. The moment this support of majority is lost, as soon as the member of Lok Sabha legislature, his support is lost, the prime minister loses the office. For many years after independence, just now as I discussed, for many years after the independence, Congress party had the majority in the Lok Sabha. Okay, in the Lok Sabha, that is the legislature and council of ministers, all were under the control of Congress, as there was no rival political party which could challenge power of Congress, and its leader would become prime minister. Since 1989, there have been many occasions when no party has majority in the Lok Sabha. Various political parties have come together. So after the election of 1989, there has been occasions many times in the election that there are no party that has a majority in Lok Sabha. So in that case, what happens? Various political parties, they come together and they form a coalition government that has a majority in the house. In such situation, a leader who is acceptable to most partners, these are the partners who all the political parties have made a coalition to form a government. Among them, all the partners, whoever a single person who is acceptable to all the partners of the coalition becomes the prime minister. Like there are 5 parties, so out of those 5 leaders, they all will decide amongst themselves that who should be the prime minister. Finally, they will appoint a prime minister. Formally, a leader has to be support of the majority appointed by the president as prime minister. Finally, president appoints the prime minister. Here, the prime minister then decides what is now is about the functions and the powers of the prime minister. See, once the prime minister has been appointed by the president, maybe he had a clear majority, maybe through a coalition government. Prime minister is elected, then appointed by the president, then decides, this prime minister will decide who will be the minister in the council of ministers. Now it is the responsibility of the prime minister to form a council of ministers. In this council of ministers, he will select various ministers depending, and the criteria would be seniority of a political person, his experience, his political, how important politically personality he is having. The ministers are given the ranks, and after that these ministers are given the ranks of cabinet ministers. There are various ranks of the cabinet ministers. Some ministers are called state ministers, minister of the state. Some are deputy ministers. Okay, some are senior ministers. In the same manner, Chief Minister of the state chooses ministers from the own party. It is about the state. The Prime Minister and all the ministers have to be the member of the Parliament. But it is very important for to be a member of Council of Ministers or to become a Prime Minister. It is very important for a candidate to be elected as a member of Parliament. That is, he should be a MP. If he has to become a Prime Minister or he has to be a member of the Council of Ministers, what he should be? He should be a member of Parliament. But in case some PM has been elected or appointed as a PM, or he is appointed as a Council of Ministers, as he is having the seniority or he is having the political importance, or he has a good influence on the people in a particular field, in that case that particular member, without being such a person has to get elected to the Parliament within 6 months. Within 6 months anyhow he has to get and elected as a member of Parliament within 6 months. If he is not able to be elected within 6 months, then he shall be removed from his office. In India, the Prime Minister enjoys a preeminent place in the government. In the government, he has the most important place. In the introduction, I told you we cannot discuss of the government and politics without mentioning Prime Minister. So the Council of Ministers cannot exist without Prime Minister. So as Prime Minister is the head of the Council of Ministers, he appoints various ministers. He gives them various portfolios of different ministries. So without Prime Minister, Council of Ministers cannot exist. The Council comes into existence only after Prime Minister. So council comes only after the appointment of the Prime Minister has taken oath. He has been appointed by the President. He has taken the oath of his office. Then he makes the Council of Ministers. In case the death or resignation of the Prime Minister automatically brings the dissolution of the Council of Ministers. If there is a death, unfortunate death or resignation by any Prime Minister, automatically his entire Council of Ministers with dissolution. They will be removed. But if there is a demise, death or dismissal or resignation of a minister, if among the Council of Ministers any of the ministers is dead, or he is dismissed, or he is given resignation due to some reasons, then only creates ministerial vacancy. In that case, whole Council of Ministers will not be removed or will not end. Only a vacancy will be opened for the particular minister. The Prime Minister acts as a link, as we have already, this is a revision part also we can say. Prime Minister is a link or is a communication link between Council of Ministers and in the one hand and President. Whatever is decided by the Council of Ministers is to be conveyed to the President, but it is only conveyed by the Prime Minister as well as the Parliament on the other. It is this role of the Prime Minister which leads Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru to decide him as the linchpin of the government. It is here important. It is also the constitutional obligation of the Prime Minister. It is the obligation. He is obliged, Prime Minister obliged to communicate all the information to President, as President is having the right to information of all the decisions of the Council of Ministers relating to the administration, affairs of the Union, proposal for legislation. Any information it would be, but Prime Minister is obliged to give all the information to President. The Prime Minister is involved in all crucial decisions of the government. In all the crucial decision making, Prime Minister is involved and decides on the policies of the government. Thus, the powers held by the Prime Minister flows from various sources. So, if I talk about the powers and functions of the Prime Minister, it flows through the various sources. Like Prime Minister controls over the Council of Ministers, as he is the head of the Council of Ministers. He leads all the meetings, all the functions of Council of Ministers. He conveys all the important information to President. Then he is the leadership of Lok Sabha. In the Lok Sabha, he is the leader of his majority party or his government. Command of the bureaucratic machine, as we know, these are bureaucratic machine. They are the permanent executives. So political executive, that is the temporary executive. I have already given you the difference between these two. So all the bureaucratic machine are also under the Prime Minister. Projection of personalities during the elections, what should be the areas and what should be the concept for their manifestations. Projections as national leaders during international summiting as well as foreign visits. For foreign visits also, you must have seen Narendra Modi ji. He has been going to various meetings for various purposes into foreign visits. So he is only responsible for it. we have read all these points, but I'm explaining you. As you can see in NCERT book, it's written in a very easy language. However, the power with the Prime Minister wields and actually puts into use depends upon the prevailing political condition. They are saying, okay, these are the functions and powers of the president we were studying. Those are fixed. But there are various powers which keep changing as there are various changes in the political conditions with changes in time. As we were reading previously, before 1989 there were no coalition government, as the single party got the majority, that was Congress. But after that there was a incoming of coalition government. Because of that, many changes came in the Indian political system. So they are saying the powers which the Prime Minister wields and actually puts into use depends. So all the powers which PM has and he implements them, it depends on the prevailing power. What are the current political conditions of that particular time? That particular time also decides what will be the powers and functions of the PM. The position of the Prime Ministers and Council of Ministers has been inaccessible. So we cannot assess them, that what are the exact powers of Council of Ministers or Prime Minister. Whenever a single political party has secured majority in the Lok Sabha, when only a single political party gets a majority in the Lok Sabha. However, this has not been case when government has. So the powers which have a single political party has are different. But when there is a coalition government, like since 1989 I have already discussed, we are seeing in that case we have witnessed many coalition government in India. Many of these government could not remain in power for full term. When there was formation of coalition government, in that there was so confusion and imbalance, and PM and the Council of Ministers, they were not independent, that could not be mutual, they missed mutual understanding on the various plan policies, there were conflict amongst them. In that case there were many governments which could not even finish their full term of Lok Sabha. Before that they were removed. They were either removed or they resigned due to loss of support of the majority. These developments have affected the working of the parliamentary executive. So these developments relating to coalition government, and with this coalition government there is a complete change in the functioning of the party which is in power, that is the government. So there are a lot of change in the functions and powers of the president and council of ministers, which change in the political system. So they are trying to explain it here, that we cannot assess the exact powers and functions of coalition government, of the Council of Ministers of Prime Minister, or we can also say President. It keeps changing with the prevailing political conditions of a country at a particular period of time. So for example, they have given here, in the first place, these developments have resulted in a growing discriminatory role of the President. As we read about the discriminatory role of the President, previously there was a single party who got the majority, and the leader of that majority party was directly appointed as the Prime Minister by the President. There was no use of discriminatory or authority and power of the President to select any other Prime Minister, as there was no choice. But with the change in the time and with the prevailing political changes, with the coming of the coalition government, the coalition nature of Indian politics in this period had necessitated more consultation between political partners. So since there was coalition, so there was lot of consultation and discussion between the political partners who have made the government. They have made a coalition, they have joined together, leading to erosion of Prime Minister authority. So there was a lot of erosional, we cannot decrease in the powers and authority of the Prime Minister. What the authority, the power which a Prime Minister used to have, it has eroded, we could say, because of this coalition system. Thirdly, because that Prime Minister, he was not independent to work or take any decision, he had to be dependent on the other partners who have come along with him to form the government. Thirdly, it has also brought the restrictions on various prerogatives and the Prime Minister, like choosing of the ministers. Like after the Prime Minister was appointed by the President, it was the sole responsibility and power and authority of the Prime Minister to choose the ministers and deciding their ranks and portfolios. But in a coalition government, that Prime Minister is not independent to select these ministers and giving them different ranks and portfolios, as he has to make different consultations with the other important partners who have come with him to form the government. If he will not make consult with them, he will not make mutual understanding and mutual decisions with them, maybe they will remove their support from their side, and the government will be removed because of the not completing the majority. Fourthly, even the policies and programs of the government cannot be decided by the Prime Minister alone. Here all the planned policies cannot be decided by the Prime Minister alone. Here also he has to consult the leaders of his partner political parties every time. So political parties of different ideologies come together both pre-poll and post-poll allies to form the government. As they have come and form the government together, so every work Prime Minister has to make consult with the other political parties having the different ideologies, and these different ideologies creates lots of problems getting into a mutual decision. Policies are framed after a lot of negotiations. So these policies previously, which were directly announced and decided by the Prime Minister when there was a complete majority of a single party, that was Congress, but now the policies are framed after there are a lot of negotiations, discussions, compromises. So among the allies, after that those policies are decided. In this entire process, the Prime Minister has to act more as a negotiator. He is acting more as a negotiator than as a leader. As previously he was a leader of the government, but change in the phase of this particularly political system in India with coming of the coalition system. Now Prime Minister, we can say, is a negotiator when they are forming. But currently BJP, they are having the complete majority. That is why our Prime Minister is so powerful. He is able to act properly. He is able to take his own decisions. But previous to that, there were many times there were a coalition government. In that case, Prime Minister lost all its independence and authority and power. He had to work according to the partners who have made coalition government with him. So these all were the important points related to the Prime Minister and Council of Ministers. I hope you have understood it, and I shall be assigning you the question answers, and you have to submit it on time. And especially the new students, keep seeing the videos which I have already uploaded, and I shall be assigning you the questions from chapter number 1, 2 and 3 as well. Till then, thank you.